With the first pick in the 2016 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Ben Simmons.
So in this video, I will be rebuilding the 2016-2017 Philadelphia 76ers, arguably the worst franchise in NBA history. As you guys can see, here is the roster right here. Ben Simmons, Jahlil Okafor, Ish Smith, Joel Embiid, Nerlens Noel. Pretty bad roster if I had to say so myself, but a lot of young talent on this team, including Jeremy Grant and Hollis Thompson and Kendall Marshall as well. Obviously, you know the whole big man dilemma in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid, Nerlens Noel, and Jahlil Okafor. So starting off this rebuild, I'm going to go ahead and try to trade Joel Embiid right here. I do see Kyle Lowry, but I don't really want to give up that first round pick because I feel like that can turn into something very valuable in the future. Plus, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you guys know that I like to do my rebuilds kind of realistic. I try to stay as realistic as possible, and obviously the Raptors won't be trading Kyle Lowry anytime soon. But I try to keep all my trades, everything possible. So that's why I only do like a few trades each season. I don't go crazy and get like the best players every season. I try to make things pretty realistic. Now right here, I was trying to target Drew Holiday and Tyreke Evans. Obviously this isn't too realistic, but it's a trade that I could definitely see happening in real life. As you guys can see right here, Nerlens Noel, the 76ers first round pick, Nick Stauskas, the Thunder first round pick, Ish Smith, and the Nuggets second round pick for Drew Holiday, Tyreke Evans, and Eric Gordon. Obviously, that's way too much for the Pelicans to give up right there, so they would end up declining the trade, as you guys can see right there. But after figuring out the trade a little bit better and seeing what else I can put into the trade, I decided to put in Nerlens Noel instead of Joel Embiid. Also threw in Hollis Thompson, the 2016 76ers first round pick, and a couple more draft picks as well in return for Drew Holiday and Tyreke Evans. And as you guys can see, we'll see right here in a little bit, I added another first round pick and added another second round pick. I offer the trade. They offer a counter offer, which includes a 2017 Thunder first round pick for a 2016 Pelicans first round pick. I think this trade looks good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and take this trade right here. So Drew Holiday, Tyreke Evans join the 76ers, adding a lot of help at the guard position. And I feel like this is a great trade that will really benefit the team. So taking a look at the new roster right here, Drew Holiday, Tyreke Evans, Ben Simmons. I mean, that's a nice core three right there. Along with Jahlil Okafor, that's a nice core four, I should say. So right here, I decided to shop around TJ McConnell and Robert Covington. I didn't really see anything too great, but I did see a trade for Aaron Aflalo, and I feel like he'd be a great guard to have either coming off of the bench or even starting at shooting guard at the shooting guard position. And the thing that the 76ers team is missing the most is depth. There's absolutely no bench production really. So with this trade, I'm just trying to find somebody who can come off the bench and provide a lot of production. I saw a good trade for Jeff Green, but I like this trade right here. Aaron Aflalo and Lua Munson. I feel like both of these players can really help the 76ers team. Obviously, Munson, great rebounder, great defensive player in the paint. Come off the bench, give us some nice production. As for Aflalo, we don't know what he can do. He's a great scorer. Played in Denver for a little bit, played in Portland, now playing in New York. Hopefully, we can try to get him in Philadelphia. So I ended up putting in Klay Anthony early into this trade, but the Knicks weren't really having it, as you guys can see right here. But they do offer this counter offer. TJ McConnell, Robert Covington, and Kendall Marshall for Aflalo early and a Munson. And I don't really want to give up Kendall Marshall. I mean, he's a great point guard. I'll give him up if the price is right, but for Lua Munson and Klay Anthony early wasn't really a great option right there. So taking a look at what the Knicks have, looking at their assets, I see Langston Galloway. He'd be a great guard as well, but then we might be a little bit too guard heavy. But I ended up finding this trade right here. So Lua Munson, Ron Baker, and Aaron Aflalo. Once again, the trades just weren't going through. They weren't accepting anything. They were providing a lot of counter offers, but the trades just weren't going through. So I decided to just go back to the original trade, and I had to end up throwing in a draft pick right there, but they will end up accepting the offer right there. So Aaron Aflalo and Lua Munson both joined the team, and Aaron Aflalo, a great asset to have on this young team. So at the end of Season 1, Kevin Durant ends up winning MVP for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the roster I'm using doesn't have the updated roster with KD on the Warriors quite yet, but you guys will see that in future rebuilds. Ben Simmons wins Rookie of the Year, DeAndre Jordan wins Defensive Player of the Year, Batum wins Most Improved, and Billy Donovan leading the OKC Thunder to a 71-11 record, ends up winning Coach of the Year. Westbrook makes the All-NBA first team. Don't expect any players from the 76ers on any of the All-NBA teams quite yet. We'll get there eventually. And as you guys can see, these are all the All-NBA teams, all defensive teams. And right here, you guys can see Ben Simmons, who also won Rookie of the Year, makes the All-Rookie first team. And taking a look at the All-Rookie second team, well, Jamal Murray ends up getting injured. You guys can see that. But All-Rookie second team, Joel Embiid, the third-year rookie, ends up making the All-Rookie team, which is great to see. Happy to see him there. Happy he was able to have a great season despite being injured. So the 76ers end up finishing third to last in the Eastern Conference. So we aren't really close to getting like a top 3 pick with our own pick, which we did end up trading to the Pelicans, so that's good. The Pelicans won't be getting like a top 3 or top 5 pick most likely, but we didn't make the playoffs, so that's definitely something that we've got to work on in the near future. Now, taking a look at the league leaders, Kevin Durant wins the scoring title, but he's also injured, which is kind of unfortunate, but he did end up winning MVP as well. So as you guys can see here, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, I mean, this is a team that went 71-11 with Oladipo. Honestly, I think this team would have been pretty good if Kevin Durant didn't leave. I mean, that's a pretty stacked team if you had to ask me. But getting into the playoff simulation, obviously the 76ers once again didn't make the playoffs. But the Bulls get the first seed, Cleveland gets the third seed as they make it to the conference finals. Cleveland versus Golden State once again in the NBA Finals, and Golden State will go ahead and win another championship in the 2016-2017 NBA season. Now, obviously, as you guys can see, it just said 2016 when it really should say 2017. But you guys got to keep in mind that I'm using a 2017 roster in the 2016 season, if that makes any sense. So all the years you see, just add 1 year to it. That's the year that we're really in. So we end up finishing the season. Klay Thompson ended up winning Finals MVP. Taking a look at the draft lottery, we have a 19.9% chance of getting the first pick from the pick we have from the LA Lakers. So as you guys can see right here, the Pelicans end up getting the 6th pick from us. The Kings get the 3rd pick. The Nuggets get the 4th pick. With the 2nd pick in the draft, this is where we are supposed to end up. We'll take a look at it. The prediction is the 76ers, and the 76ers end up getting the pick, so not bad at all. We end up getting the 2nd pick in the 2017 draft, and there are some decent prospects in the draft. Obviously, the Utah Jazz end up getting the very first pick, but let's get right into the draft. So kicking things off here in the 2017 draft, obviously Utah with the very first pick. Josh Jackson will probably end up going first. That's what I usually see with the 2017 draft class made by Embrace the Pace. So you guys can see the roster right here. I mean, the team is looking a lot better than it did at the beginning of the 2016 season, but obviously we are nowhere close to championship contenders. So so now I have to make a tough decision whether I trade down in the draft and try to get some more assets, or do I just take a top 2 player in the draft. And taking a look at my options right here, sorting by the best available, we need a shooting guard. I see Malik Monk. I'm very interested in drafting him. I also see Josh Jackson, but he ended up going first pick in the draft. Jason Tatum's also nice. We don't need any big men since we already have Embiid and Okafor. So we definitely need a shooting guard or small forward because we have Jrue Holiday obviously on the at the point guard position. Now I noticed that some of the better shooting guards like a Grayson Allen or Malik Monk are projected to go later on in the draft, like top 10, not necessarily top 2 or top 3. So I decided to trade down in the draft right here, as you guys can see, trading the Lakers' 2nd pick in the draft. And we do see some nice offers from Derek. We see Derek Favors, we see Kemba Walker, but obviously we don't need any big men. We don't need a point guard. We need kind of a shooting guard, small forward player. We do see Wesley Matthews along with Lou Williams. But I see this trade from the Magic. This will allow us to trade for the 5th pick in the draft. Obviously, things just didn't end up working out. So I decided to trade even further down in the draft with Toronto, who had the 7th pick. And I see Bismack Biyombo. I see Norman Powell. I see Damari Carroll. I throw him into the trade. And I also end up looking at some other players. I end up throwing in Terrence Ross, as you guys will see a little bit later. This trade just wouldn't end up working out. And even though I tried throwing in a couple more players, the trade just wasn't working out. The Raptors were being really stingy, not wanting to get rid of the 7th pick in the draft. But after a little bit of negotiating, as you guys will see right here, I ended up throwing in Terrence Ross into this trade. He will give us another guard/shooting guard to complement Jrue Holiday and Tyreke Evans. I ended up also getting Damari Carroll in the trade. As you guys saw, if you guys want to go back and pause the trade, you guys can see it. But it was a great trade. So not only do we trade down in the draft to the 7th pick to allow us to get maybe a Malik Monk or even a point guard, we also got Terrence Ross and Damari Carroll. So great trade in my opinion for both teams. Toronto gets the 2nd pick. They're able to clear up some cap space, and we are able to pick up 2 great players to come off the bench and help with the depth on this team. Because as I said earlier, the biggest issue this team has is depth. In the Eastern Conference, I think our starting lineup is pretty good with Drew Holiday, Tyreek Evans, Ben Simmons, Embiid, and Okafor. That's a solid starting 5 if you had asked me. So with the 7th pick coming up right here, we've got 19 trade offers to look at. We're going to go ahead and look at all of them. And nothing here looking too intriguing. Obviously, we just got a shooting guard. We just got a small forward. So now, as I said earlier, I wanted to get a shooting guard originally, but now I'm starting to look at backups, and I'm looking at backup point guards. I decided to take Lonzo Ball out of Chino Hills High School from UCLA. He's listed at 6'5", 196 pounds, 19 years old. Tall, nice point guard. Can see the court better than most regular point guards, and will be a great fit for the Philadelphia 76ers team. Hopefully he can play a big role for this team, and thanks to the Toronto Raptors giving us Terrence Ross and Damari Carroll, we were able to pick up a backup point guard. Now, as you guys can see right here, I ended up trading for Grayson Allen as well. The 2016 Pelicans pick, the 2016 76ers pick, and Kendall Marshall for the 2017 Timberwolves pick, and Grayson Allen, and a 2nd round pick. They will end up accepting the trade. So once again, we get another shooting guard, small forward type player on this team. Great player to add to an already deep 76ers lineup. Never thought I'd ever be saying that. Now, obviously, I'm trying to do things as realistic as possible, so hopefully it's still realistic for you guys. As you guys can see, we end up picking up Lonzo Ball and Grayson Allen, signing both of those players. So taking a look at the team right here, I mean, the team's looking pretty stacked. I mean, not stacked, but it's just looking deep. I feel like we can have a lot of depth on this team. And obviously, we're going to bring back Okafor, Embiid, and Jeremy Grant. We're going to let go of Nick Stauskas since we just picked up Terrence Ross, Grayson Allen, Damari Carroll, and Lonzo Ball. Try to clear up some cap space. Maybe try to sign Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Paul Millsap. So taking a look at my free agents right here, you guys can see all the free agents that we do have. Obviously, I'm going to bring back all the players that we have bird rights on, like Drew Holiday, Aaron Aflalo, etc. So we're going to go ahead and offer Drew Holiday a 4-year, $12.3 million contract right here with the player option in the 4th year. And hopefully he accepts it. We're also going to offer Paul Millsap a contract, 4-year, $27 million. We've got the money to spend. Might as well go ahead and get a nice power forward to just help us out in the front court. And so we're going to offer him a $27 million deal with a player option at the end of the 3rd year. A 4-year, $27 million deal looks pretty good to me. So we're going to go ahead and offer that contract to Paul Millsap. We're also going to try to bring back Aaron Aflalo for a 2-year, $5.14 million contract. So Drew Holiday and Paul Millsap end up accepting the offers, which is phenomenal for this team. As you guys can see, we have 0 power forward on the team at the moment. And after simulating one more day, Aaron Aflalo ends up joining the team as well. So after signing a few more players, I didn't show it in the video just because it just was a waste of time. I ended up picking up David Lee and Carl Landry to fill out that power forward position. And now the team is looking pretty deep, I would have to say so myself, with Millsap and Okafor starting at the 4 and the 5, with Drew Holiday, Aflalo, and Ben Simmons at the 1, 2, and 3, with Tyreek Evans, Embiid, Carroll, and Ross all coming off of the bench. This team is looking great. So at the All-Star break, you guys can take a look at the rosters. I mean, not the rosters, that's the player stats and the standings. As you guys can see, the Philadelphia 76ers, they are the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. Stephen Curry leading all scorers in points, as you guys saw right there. But as for the Philadelphia 76ers, I mean, a very balanced attack. Okafor leading all scorers with Millsap right behind him. And all the players averaging, a lot of players averaging double digits, which is always nice to see. LeBron James, he's the front runner for MVP, and you guys can take a look at all the award races right here. But as you guys can see, LBJ and Russell Westbrook are the 2 front runners for MVP. So at the end of the season, LeBron James ends up winning MVP. Jason Tatum wins Rookie of the Year. Thaddeus Young wins 6th Man. Kyrie Irving wins Most Improved, and Ty Lue ends up winning Coach of the Year as the Cleveland Cavaliers clinch the 1st seed, I do believe. And as you guys can see, I mean, none of the 76ers make the All-NBA, any of the All-NBA teams, but the 76ers end up getting the second seed in the Eastern Conference. This team, I mean, what makes this team so good is their depth. I mean, this team is just so deep. Obviously, with the addition of Paul Millsap as well, this team instantly became a contender with Okafor, Millsap, Simmons. I mean, obviously Ben Simmons leading the way, but this team instantly a contender. As you guys can see, the Thunder, Kevin Durant is out with a ruptured left Achilles for the rest of the season. So Westbrook's really going to have to step up for this Thunder squad. He was also injured for most of the season as well. So this team was really suffering. I mean, Kevin Durant was injured. Like, look at that. He only played 13 games this season as they got a pretty low seed in the Western Conference. So going into our very first matchup of the playoffs, we end up taking on Carmelo and the New York Knicks, and we end up sweeping them. Easy peasy right there. We ended up going up 4-0. So now we're taking on Toronto. Let's take a quick look at their roster real quick. Let's take a look at the player stats for the Raptors. Taking a look at things right here, we can see DeMar DeRozan led them with 24 points, pretty much 25. They got Harry Giles. That's the pick we ended up giving them when we did trade for Terrence Ross and Damari Carroll. So, simulating game 1, we win game 1. They win game 2. They win game 3. We win game 4. And a bunch of injuries just happened, and they win game 5. So now we're down 3-2. And the Philadelphia 76ers have been eliminated. The Toronto Raptors end up winning an NBA title. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry clutch up, win an NBA title. So 2 seasons in now, we haven't done jack. This 3rd season, we got to come out and we've got to win an NBA title. And honestly, what I've been trying to go for, like obviously trying to keep things realistic, I'm trying to let my players, Ben Simmons, Okafor, and Embiid, kind of develop and become, superstar players to lead us to a title. As you guys can see, both Okafor and Simmons are both 83 overalls, which is great. So I started off the season by just shopping around Paul Millsap. I see this trade from the Cavaliers for Kevin Love. I decided not to really look at it. I also see this trade, Paul Millsap and Damari Carroll for Draymond Green, Harrison Barnes. This is where the whole thing with realistic trades comes in. That trade is just not realistic. So, but in my opinion, the team is looking pretty good. I kept things very simple. I didn't sign too many players. I ended up signing Roy Hibbert and Brandon Wright just to make the team a little more deeper at the big man position. But as you guys know, I'm trying to keep things realistic. Trying to build around, obviously, Simmons and Okafor, the very nice young core we have right there. And 37-18 at the All-Star break. Not bad at all. Taking a look at the player stats, Okafor having a breakout season, 20-10. Simmons averaging 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. Putting up LeBron James types number right there. And taking a look at the award races now, Damian Lillard leading the MVP race with LeBron right behind him. And as you guys can see, no 76ers players make any of that. But Paul Millsap ends up making the Eastern All-Star team. Very, very, very nice to see right there. Along with Jahlil Okafor, Ben Simmons actually got snubbed. I believe he made the team last year, but LeBron will end up winning MVP at the end of the 2018 season. Mason Plumlee wins, I believe that was 6-man. And the coach of the Raptors ends up winning Coach of the Year. You guys can always go back and pause. So taking a look at the All-NBA teams, Ben Simmons makes the All-NBA third team. Didn't make the All-Star team, but made the All-NBA third team. Honestly, going into the season, I feel like this is our year. The 76ers get the 2nd seed, obviously building around just young players, waiting for them to progress. Obviously, will always work out. And Denver ends up making the 3rd seed, Portland at 4, Pelicans at 2. So at the 2nd seed, I should say, we were up 3-1 against the Boston Celtics, 3-2. Hopefully we can clutch up, and yes, we do. So we end up moving on 4-2, taking on LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's take a quick look at their roster real quick. Obviously, LeBron's still on the team, along with Kyrie. They ended up trading for Zach Randolph and Frank Kaminsky. But you guys can see right there, they also have Al Jefferson on the team. That team is actually really, really stacked. But we end up going 3-0 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can we sweep? No, we can't. 3-1. Make that 4-1. We have earned a berth in the Eastern Conference Finals, I should say. So, taking a look at the Hornets, former Rookie of the Year, Jason Tatum, we have to go against. Simulating Game 1, we lose Game 1. We win Game 2. We win Game 3. We win Game 4. Can we win Game 5? We're going to go ahead and simcast it. And we have a lead at the end of the 1st. And they end up coming back in the 2nd. Whoever wins this 4th quarter will end up winning the game. And it looks like we're pulling ahead, and it looks like the Philadelphia 76ers are heading to the NBA Finals. Ben Simmons, Jahlil Okafor, Paul Millsap, and the deep squad that I have built here in Philadelphia will take on the Utah Jazz. What a matchup to see here in the 2018 NBA season. Taking a look at the Utah Jazz roster, can't believe they're in the finals. I'm sure they still have Gordon Hayward. Yes, they do. They also have Josh Jackson, who was the first pick, I should say. Nikola Mirotic, Markelle Fultz, also drafted in the 2017 draft. And that will round out the roster. So they also have Rodney Hood, Kelly Olynyk, but I feel like things just worked out great for us with injuries to many players on the Thunder. Thank God they knocked out the Thunder. So now this Jazz team, not as good as some other teams in the Eastern Conference or Western Conference, such as Golden State or even Oklahoma. So as you guys can see, we are up. It was a 2-1 lead. Now it's tied 2-2. Going into Game 5, we lose Game 5. So going into Game 6, down 2-3. It looks like we will end up handling this game. As you guys can see, up big in the second quarter. Moving on to the third, we continue to have a nice solid lead, up by over 20 points. So the Philadelphia 76ers, Ben Simmons and crew has forced a game number 7 in Philadelphia, I believe. Yeah, in Philadelphia. Hopefully we can win it for the hometown team. After just 3 seasons, Philadelphia back on top, trying to be the best team in the league. Here in the Simcast, game number 7. We are up in the first quarter, into the second quarter, up by 10. They end up coming back right there, but not by much. They end up taking the lead, actually. It's time. We're jumping in right here, 79-77. Can the Philadelphia 76ers walk away with an NBA title? Gordon Hayward going to the basket, gets fouled by Paul Millsap, and won, giving them a 1-point lead. On the other end of things, here comes Lonzo Ball, finding Jahlil Okafor right here. Actually finds Terrence Ross, who ends up kicking it down to Jahlil Okafor. Biggest shot of his career right here, driving to the basket, puts it up, puts it in. 81-80, heading into the final 2 minutes of the NBA Finals, Game 7. Now in the fourth quarter, 20 seconds left. Ben Simmons, 86-84, has to put one more shot to win an NBA title. Put the dagger into the Utah Jazz's heart, driving to the basket, trying to break ankles, going to the basket, and he makes the layup up 88-84 with just under 10 seconds remaining. And it would be another case of too little, too late. The Utah Jazz can't even get a proper shot up. And the Philadelphia 76ers are NBA champions, winning in game number 7, 88-84.
Well, they did it. And as they celebrate, you can just see the relief, the exhilaration that comes with winning it all.
And Clark, you have to hand it to the entire organization. They work together to get right here.
And guys, what a reward for the fan base. I know one thing. They're going to enjoy this memory for a long, long time.
And we have enjoyed our time with you folks all season long. This is Kevin Harlan saying so long. Have a wonderful summer.
So if you guys enjoyed this rebuild and want to see more rebuilds in the future, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know which teams I should do next.